Good afternoon, guys. It's Working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Coinbase. And man, what a Bitcoin, there's just never a dull moment, man, I got to say. So we have now taken out the local high on Bitcoin. Oh, by the way, guys, I apologize. Thank you guys all for the tips. I usually have a list of the people that have left me comments, letting me know that they left, that the tips are from them. I don't have that list with me today. I'll try to get to it next time to give you guys a personal shout out. But to everybody that does leave tips, and even the ones that just do it without leaving comments, guys, really appreciate it. Got them, and please, I don't ever take it for granted, guys. Much gratitude. Do appreciate it. It helps me know I'm doing something right. So, and by the way, never feel obligated, guys. That's not into never feel obligated to leave a tip. I just do this as a way to give back to the community, guys, and just appreciate all your support. All right, so as I said, this is the 4-hour chart, guys. Bitcoin was flagging out here. We talked last time how last time we spoke, I believe Bitcoin was we obviously were trading between resistance and support. Resistance sitting between 8150 and 8250, and support sitting down here at about 7500, 7600. And we've created a series of higher lows every time we've tested here. And as ever since, let's see, June the 9th, we've started to flag out here with more of a wedge pattern here. And this was suggesting a breakout. I told you last time, which was day before yesterday, that to expect anywhere between the next 24 to, I think I said 24 to 72 hours, we would expect a breakout. And here we are about 48 hours later, and here is the breakout. Now, we're hitting into, we have not decisively taken out this zone, guys. We did wick above it. I think we have a local high here of 82.90. So we have wicked above it. We have taken out the prior high since consolidating here. And now the question is, how are we going to react? If we can get this current 4-hour candle to close above 81.50, I do have to, we would at that point had a daily candle both opening and closing above 81.50. And even though I'd really like to see that happen above 82.50, above this area of resistance, I can accept that, and I will very likely start to get bullish and think that we're going to take a shot at this area right here, which sits at right around 8450 to 8500-ish, somewhere thereabouts, guys. I do think if we get a 4-hour candle opening and closing in this zone between 8150 and 8250, I have to favor Bitcoin breaking up and hitting this $8,500 resistance. Now, does that mean it has to happen? No. And as of right now, last candle, we had this nice little increase in volume. So this did break out on, again, looking at the smaller time frames, on a decent amount of volume. But overall, we're still sitting at about 19.4 billion on the day. And that is, even though if we're comparing over the last 6 months, that's a nice increase in volume. If we're comparing it to the last month or so, it's really not so much. It's really continuing to just stagnate. Now, if we come over here and check longs and shorts, we are seeing a little bit of movement here, but you'd expect that on a breakout. So we've got long starting to stack because some people chasing price. But interestingly enough, oftentimes when you have a bunch of guppies in the market, when price goes up, longs go up and shorts go down. We're seeing both longs and shorts go up. So it's rather interesting. Nothing too significant from either. This is only about on both. This was about, what is that? About a 4% move, and that's on both longs and shorts. So really nothing too significant here, guys, at all on longs and shorts. So I don't want to read too much into that yet. Looking at our moving averages here on the 4-hour, as we discussed last time, we were having all of our moving averages converge here. So the 821 and 55 exponential all converging on top of one another, as well as the 50 simple and the 200 simple all converging. That was suggesting, in addition to the constricting Bollinger Bands, that was suggesting a larger move to come. Even though we've had this breakout up now to create a new local high, that does not necessarily mean this is the breakout, guys. I'm looking for either a larger move up or this to be a complete fake out, and we end up collapsing down here. So I basically, for the most part, guys, I'm extremely cautious. I've increased my stops. I did, full disclosure, I did have a couple longs that I bought up down here on this latest dip. But I've increased the stop losses on both those longs. My stop loss sits at about 87, 85-ish. And on both my positions, and I did close half my position when we wicked up here at 82.50. I think I closed it at like 82.45, 82.40, something like that. But right now I'm playing this fairly conservatively. I do not have a lot of confidence until we do take out decisively this 82.50 resistance. If we get a 4-hour candle opening closing above 82.50, I'll be a lot more confident. But as I said, if we can just get this 4-hour candle to close within this zone, I have to give favor to the bulls. I have to believe that this thing is temporarily short-term bullish and is going to break up and test about 84.50 to 8,500. Overall, I am still looking for a pullback. Overall, I still do believe, looking at CMEs here, I still do believe that this gap is going to get filled. As I said, guys, I told you guys last time, probability, does it have to get filled? No. Does probability say that it will get filled? Yes, absolutely, guys. So, even though temporarily we may get a little more bullish momentum here, and even if we were to take out the prior high of about, what is it, at about the 9,090, even if we take that out, guys, I still believe that we are going to come back down and eventually fill this gap. So I am still looking for an overall retracement somewhere between 7,200 and 7,000, this base right here. This is where I would expect a very strong bounce, and this is where I'm looking for a very strong scalp trade. Even if this doesn't hold, I'm not telling you this is bottom, but I do think there's a fair chance that this would be bottom on a retrace, and at the very, very least, you're going to get a nice little scalp up here between bouncing off of 7,200 to 7,000, and I do believe it bounced anywhere between 7,400 to 7,500-ish. Zooming out on the daily chart, you can see, this does look bullish, but make no mistake about it, we are still sitting in an area of resistance. And even though we've wicked above it here, guys, we have not yet broken above it decisively. So please be very, very careful. How many times have we seen Bitcoin do a head fake to where it drops and then immediately reverses course and starts a temporary bullish momentum, or the opposite, where Bitcoin will do a head fake to the upside and then completely drop? Now, oftentimes the first sign you're going to see is coming over and looking at shorts is you're going to see either shorts or longs start to stack respectively, and we're not really seeing that right now. We're seeing a little bit of an increase, but nothing too significant at the moment. And as I said, checking volume, we're still sitting at a fairly stagnant volume, even though on the last 4 hour, for a very brief period, we did break out. That as of now is not, we don't have much follow through. Now it's very, very early, so we very well could get that follow through, but we're not there yet. So please be a little bit conservative here, guys. Don't get too greedy with this until we can clear above this. We are looking at, if I go swing high from that $9,090 high down to that swing low, so we take this whole structure into account, we can see that we're bouncing right off the top of that 50. Right off the top of the 50 fib. So that is a lot of resistance. And then I know exactly what some people are thinking, guys. And we're looking for what bots are looking at as resistance. And so bots are going to take this into account. They're going to look at this whole structure. And certainly the 50 is going to be where, you're going to get a lot of sells. Now, if we come over here and we just look at this smaller structure here, and if I come out to the 4 hour and you say, all right, maybe they're not looking at the $9,090 high. Perhaps they're just looking at this last swing high right here at about $8,830. Even that is giving you a decent resistance right at the tick, right at the 618. So either way you want to play this, whether or not you're looking at this whole structure or whether or not you're just looking at the last swing high, either way you want to play it, we are hitting a fairly substantial amount of resistance just looking at our fib. So be very careful until we do take this area out, guys. Caution is your friend. All right, pulling out on the daily, guys. Daily we are now above the 21-day EMA, the 21 exponential, which is extremely relevant. We're finding resistance right at the 20 simple, which is just the center of the Bollinger Bands there. Remember I said we were looking for a decisive break above the 21-day EMA. By decisive, we mean a daily open and close above that zone. Now, we had that open on the 10th. On the 11th, which was yesterday, we had the open, and then it closed literally right on the 21-day EMA, which is a bit of a gray area. But technically, you'd have to say if this does follow through the way it is now, and this is where the daily candle closes, guys, that is bullish. That is bullish as hell, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see how this ends up closing here. But I would call that a decisive break, assuming today's candle does close above the 21-day EMA. We'll have to kind of watch and wait and see how it plays out. If we zoom in here, guys, remember I was telling you to watch that 8-day EMA to see if we cross below the 21. We did not have that happen. Basically went right on top of it, have not had that close below it yet. So could this be the saving grace? Could be. Watching and waiting to see. But as of right now, guys, a little bit of a neutral sign, but certainly favoring the bulls as of right now. Looking at the weekly, see we bounced really almost right at the 8-week EMA here, which again is bullish if we can get some follow through with this. If we look at the weekly chart here, we can see that obviously perfect bounce right where we would have expected support, right at that 7,500, and that's also confirmed if we just look at this last swing low on the weekly, the last area of consolidation, all the way up to that swing high. It's right there at that 382, which if this does follow through here and we end up coming up here bouncing off this zone, that is bullish as hell. If that does follow through. Now I can't help but I'm not a fan of Elliott wave in this market as of yet until we do have a nice sustainable bull trend where we can all say that we're above 10,000. The bull run has begun. Until we can say that, I'm not comfortable with Elliott wave, but I would be remiss if I did not point out that this does look like, obviously we'd be looking at something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, this being a 5, a nice extended fifth, and assuming that we were looking at 5 waves up here, there we go. You'd have to look at that ABC correction, which, does look like we bought, whoop, that's not where I wanted to be. There we go. Which does look like our A came down here, hit resistance, or excuse me, hit support right around 7,500. Now we're coming up on the B. B is going to hit possibly resistance right where we would have expected between that 8,250-ish and $8,400 area, and then coming right back down to finish off that C wave somewhere around 7,000 to 7,200. Possibly lower than that. But again, this is, don't hold my targets to to account right now. I'm just kind of spitballing. But and again, I'm not a fan of Elliott wave in this market, at least not yet, until we have a sustainable bull run, that larger sustainable bull run. But I would be remiss if I didn't point this out, guys. It does, this could just be that temporary B wave up, and then we have that larger correction all the way back down for that C for you Elliott wave traders. Now, if you guys, for those of you that hate Elliott wave, I get it, guys. I'm more, to me, I consider it more of a, it's one tool in an arsenal of tools and a whole toolbox of tools, but it's certainly not something to hang your hat on, and it's certainly not something to use by itself. But that is certainly worth pointing out, guys. This could potentially be almost a perfect ABC correction, and if that is the case, we'd be coming back down to at least this 7,000 to 7,200 area as discussed. Now, if we do take out that 8,250 resistance, guys, and we do end up coming up here, as discussed, our first target is going to be this $8,450 to $8,500 resistance. If that gets taken out, we're going to obviously very likely come up and retest the high of $9,090. Assuming that $9,090 high gets taken out, and we do create a new high, where am I looking? What's my target going to be? It's going to be somewhere right here. If we pull all the way out on the weekly, we can see this is where the body tried to top out here back in April of 18. This is where I would expect to find the first major area of resistance if we do end up creating a new high for 2019. And that's going to be somewhere between 9,400 and 9,600, somewhere in this zone. Could we go higher? Absolutely. Could this thing just go completely parabolic? Absolutely. Is this the strongest area of resistance? Am I just looking for a hard rejection right there? No. But this is the first area of resistance that I would look for, assuming we do create a new high, 70, 80, 90, or excuse me, 9,400 and 9,600. And above that, of course, we have our $10,000 resistance, which is going to be a good psychological. I would expect us to either clear $10,000 decisively, or we stop short somewhere around 9,900 and end up retracing from there. I don't think we're going to come right to 10,000 to the tick and then reject off of that, guys. I do think there's going to be a lot of front running going on. All right, quickly checking our indicators. This is on the weekly Weekly MACD histogram starting to tick down, has been, but yeah, overall nothing too significant. Looking at the weekly RSI, looks bullish to me, guys. This looks like a healthy correction to me. Very, very reminiscent of what we did back here in back in December of 16, where we had this continuous chop, but the RSI continuously remaining well above 50 on the weekly, guys, and it was just this continuous little tidal wave followed by a swell, followed by a tidal wave, swell, or excuse me, swell followed by the the next swell, the next swell, the next swell. Just these nice, perfect little healthy pullbacks, guys, where the RSI stays well above 50 for the majority of it, and we can see a nice strong top out, nice strong bottom out. That's what this kind of looks like to me. A nice snapback from the top. If this is in fact the bottom, a nice snapback from the bottom. But even if we go lower here, guys, it's not until we break down below about 52, 53 on the weekly RSI that I do start to believe that this whole thing may have been a sham. I still am bullish on Bitcoin, and this is, in my opinion, looking at the weekly RSI, is extremely, extremely bullish. Let's see, looking at the daily here, let's see, not much to see. Daily signal line, MACD line, look, they're starting to trend up. Daily histogram starting to trend up here. Yeah, RSI does look actually looks fairly neutral for now, but nothing too significant. Let's see if we have any bullish divergence on the lower time frames, or excuse me, bearish divergence in the lower time frames. Not too much. We're no. It looked like it was trying to possibly put some in there, but no, it didn't play out. And actually looks fairly bullish here, guys. So yeah, overall, guys, this is, again, I'm not going to get too excited about this. This could absolutely be a head fake, but once we take out that, or once we get a 4-hour candle opening and closing above 81.50, I do have to give the nod to the bulls, and I do have to think that we probability tells us we're going to come up and test about 84.50 to 8,500, as I said. So let's wait and see if it ends up playing out, guys. For now, just watching and waiting. Very small scalp trades, but nothing too significant at all until we do get some more decisive moves. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, appreciate an upvote. If you have enjoyed this content, until next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is working. Sign out.